A very good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Times Exclusive, airing on Times Television. I'm your host, Banda. Thank you for joining us. The program tonight is coming to you under the auspices of Rainbow Paints. In this edition of the program, I'll be talking to Malawi's Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Richard Msowoya, who is also Member of Parliament for Karonga Nyungwe.
Weather Shield, another brand from Rainbow Paints. This is Ultimate. An extreme high-performance acrylic smooth textured finishing with ultraviolet absorption and maximum flexibility properties for wall finishes. A built-in fungicide to resist molds. Simple to use, quick drying, water-resistant binding power, low dirt retention, and hides hairline cracks. Suitable for use on all exterior walls, be it plaster, concrete, or brickwork. Available in a wide range of colors in 5 and 20-liter containers. Contact us today in Blantyre 01841-813, 01841-871, Lilongwe 01755-901. Email info@rainbowpaints.biz. Rainbow Paints. Peace of mind, part of the deal.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
We are meeting after you have just finished the mid-year budget review of Parliament.
Right.
How have you seen the last meeting of Parliament?
Well, as usual, there are moments of excitement, there are moments of tension, there are moments of you feel you are building the nation. That's what happens in most of the sessions, and this one in particular. I do recall we passed a bill on youth development, youth fund, which is a loan, which was very good, and I think that if properly implemented, it will begin to get our youth involved in business and economic activities.
Do you think it was worth it?
It was worth it, yes. It was
looking at the bills that were discussed,
yes,
and all the shenanigans that goes together with the sitting of Parliament.
Yes, Parliament, you know, it's the Malawian people speaking through their elected representatives. So it's always a good thing when they meet and discuss and air out how they see their countries moving, where they think their country should be going, and issues that maybe need clarification from cabinet and so on. So it is always something that, as an elected representative myself, I look forward to.
The next question is a little bit hard. I don't know if you can answer it fairly. But, Right Honourable Speaker, do you think you are a good Speaker of Parliament?
That I will leave to other people to decide. I mean, I cannot assess myself. I think the performance when you are on the seat, it's difficult for you to assess yourself. But it's other people who can assess that, and I'm sure you would probably be asking MPs, you would probably be asking Malawians, you would probably be asking members of cabinet and how I deal with them in Parliament, and maybe a few colleagues.
You are the Vice President of a major political party in this country.
Yes, I am.
Malawi Congress Party.
First Deputy President.
But at the same time, also the Speaker of Parliament.
Right.
How are you balancing the two?
At first, you know, people had some sort of suspicions, or they had some sort of questions as well, just like you're asking now. Eventually it came to my realization that there's really nothing so special about you being a politician on one hand and a speaker on the other. After all, for you to become a speaker, you've got to be an MP, you've got to be a politician. And unlike the House of Commons, where they have said to ensure the speaker's neutrality, the speaker must not the speaker's constituency must not be active, meaning that nobody can go to the speaker's constituency to campaign during the time that you are speaker, to allow you not to get involved in active politics. In our constitution, I think our framers didn't see that as a major thing, because the requirement for you to be speaker is you have to be an active politician. You are elected according to our laws among the MPs. So you are an active politician, and therefore what happens then is that for you to manage that leadership role, that head prefect role, I can say, you have to look at the rules, and the rules are there in the Constitution. There are various laws But most importantly, for us at Parliament, we have the standing orders, which guide you. So anything that you say, even if a member stands up or you are maybe in conflict with a certain member or over whatever is happening procedure, you simply consult the standing orders and they will tell you exactly what should happen. So once you follow that, it doesn't matter really, in my opinion, whether you are a president or a councillor or an MP or an area chairman, but you have been elected to come to Parliament as an MP. You can be the speaker, and as long as you follow the rules, there should be no problem.
So there have been any kind of contradiction between your role as the first vice president of the Malawi Congress Party and the Speaker of the National Assembly?
I don't think so. And you see, if those were distinct things that maybe might have made through my judgment or maybe through my actions or maybe through selection of other things that I have to, or decisions that I have to make as a speaker, I'm very sure that members would have come to say, look, you made a decision this day, or you said this or this day, or you guided Parliament in this way. We thought it was disenfranchising other people, but franchising your own. I have not had that, and I do think that people generally believe that, and I try myself to, most of the times when I make a decision, to quote the relevant standing order or the relevant law or the relevant prescription of our rules and procedure. So I don't see any conflict, and it has not come to my notice.
How easy has it been for you, Right Honourable Speaker, considering that you have never been a speaker before? And we don't have schools
it's not easy.
that train speakers of Parliament.
It's not easy. It's not easy. You know, you are just one of the 193 people who spend the night or weeks planning to come to Parliament. You have given them the order paper. They know what will be discussed. They're researching. These days, people Google even on the floor of the house.
You are allowing people to access.
There's internet. I mean, these days you have to allow rich discussion. So you have to allow people to research, and how they choose the research is not your problem. So, but at the same time, you are saying you are looking at 190 people who are coming to Parliament to discuss an issue, and there are two sides there, maybe with opposing views, and you are there to regulate or to try and guide the proceedings. It's not an easy thing, and I don't think it's a thing that one can go to school for. I don't think you can be guided. You can go to other parliaments to observe what happens. But certainly, most of the things is...
have you been to other parliaments to observe?
I've been to other parliaments. I've been...
Where?
As soon as I got elected as Speaker, I went to the Scottish Parliament first. They invited me to see how business is done. What was interesting there was the Prime Minister's question time, which I enjoyed, and I went to Parliament of Australia as well to see what happens. And I've been to some parliamentary organizations like African Parliament, Pan-African Parliament, CPA, and so on and so forth, where these models of parliaments are at play, and you tend to pick one or two things, one or two things of how people behave and how they keep their cool, how they keep their calm, and so on, because it's important.
Yours is a very tough job, and we have examples of what has happened to other past speakers of Parliament. It's a hectic job.
Right, it is.
People can die on the job.
Of course.
How do you keep yourself stress-free?
You can die anywhere.
You can die anywhere. I know.
But for me, the most important thing is to realize that matters of the public are not personal. So if people come with a bill, people bring a motion, people come with a question or a report that has a public interest in it, don't make it your personal interest. Because once you make it your personal interest, then it becomes a personal issue, then it becomes to eat on you, and then your stress levels begin to go up. But treat them as public issues. And you are a member of the public, of course, but at the same time, you are a major player because you have been elected to deal with those things, to look at the policy, to look at the law, and to look at how issues or resources are being used. So when you look at it and you just regard yourself as one of the 193, then your stress levels should already be low with that understanding. That's one. Secondly, is to get involved into activities that maybe people prescribe as stress relivers, whatever, maybe stress-reducing activities, exercising, you talk to people, listen to music, and so on, during your free time.
So you do listen to music?
Of course. I listen to music.
I've seen some pictures of you jogging.
Yeah, you jog, you got to have family support, you have to have friends support, you have to have political leadership support. So that's what sometimes you hear when things are not happening well. We say we are suspending, we're going for a business committee. The leadership of the parties in the House will come and strengthen you. So no, don't worry. We got a little bit carried away, but this is what we should do. And then you come in, the House is a little calmer, and then you proceed. But that's what.
Have you had a tough day yet?
Well, so many tough days.
So many tough days?
Yeah, sometimes people may not see, but so many tough days. Sometimes you go there, you say, but Lord help me. This thing, by the time we finish, will I still be having the house as it should be, or it will be a divided house, it will be a shouting house, it will be a house that people are throwing stones, and then you see clips of other parliaments where people are exchanging blows. You say, will there be exchange of blows in this parliament?
There haven't been any blows.
No, not yet, I can say maybe. But at least we...
But the tempers have flared.
Well, that is expected. When you are in public debates and there are some issues that are really, really maybe sensitive, or there are issues that people think are very important, and sometimes people may feel other people are not doing them at the pace or the depth that they would like them to be done, and therefore there might be...
Right, Honourable Speaker, there have been calls that the President should have a scheduled time to answer questions.
Yes.
Are we going to see this
under
your leadership?
Actually, talking about that, it's not even cause for the President to come to Parliament. This is a constitutional matter.
But why is the President
under the duties of the President, it is very clear in Section 89 that the President shall come to Parliament at various occasions. One is to open a session of Parliament, to open the budget session of Parliament, but also to come to Parliament to answer questions. In fact, the Constitution itself says Parliament shall regulate its procedures through the standing orders. When you take that power of the Constitution and put it, check in the standing orders, it is very clear. The standing orders say the President shall come to Parliament and answer questions every Wednesday after 2 o'clock.
Every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday. So every Wednesday, when Parliament is sitting, the President, by the power of the Constitution, is supposed to be in Parliament to answer questions.
Why have we not seen the President?
That is the question the President can answer. I cannot, but we have sent questions to him.
You have powers to enforce that the President should come in Parliament every Wednesday.
No, not
from
me.
2 o'clock.
Not me personally. Parliament
you
has
are the
power.
Speaker.
Yes, but Parliament has power.
Yeah,
not
but
me
you
personally.
are the Speaker.
I am the Speaker. I can guide the House. But the power of forcing the President in this case, because the Constitution already says the President shall come to Parliament. Okay? The Constitution already says the President shall come to Parliament. And he has come to Parliament. I'm sure you have seen the President.
But I'm asking on the question time.
On the question time. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
There is provision, 2 provisions, where the President shall come to Parliament to answer questions. Shall come to Parliament to answer questions under after presenting the budget session, like we're doing this June. And at that time, it is very clear also the standing orders say that those questions shall not be delegated by any minister to any minister. You get what I'm saying? So if after the presentation of the budget statement, the President then is asked a question by any member of the Assembly, he has to come to Parliament on a Wednesday afternoon to answer that question, personally. There are other questions that can be asked to the President on a normal time. If the President so wishes, he also comes to Parliament on a Wednesday to answer those questions. But on the other questions, he can delegate a minister to answer on his behalf if he's busy.
Yeah, but my question is, why have we not seen President Peter Mutharika coming on a Wednesday?
Maybe the question to me, Brian, should be, have you asked the President to come to Parliament to answer questions? And the answer is yes. We have done so. We have listed questions.
Yes.
In the previous one, I remember the leader of the opposition had a series of questions. There was an MP, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Kota South East, they had questions also. This time around, we had the leader of PP, Honorable Uladi Musa, asked a series of questions for the President to come, but we have not seen him. And my understanding...
Have you sent those questions to President
The questions have been sent, and in other cases, in the previous one, the responses came, and they delegated to be answered by a minister.
But you have just told me that...
No, the owner of the question said, I don't want my question to be answered by a minister. I want the President personally to answer me. So then we have no choice. So those answers, which the president answered, but wanted somebody to answer on his behalf, we still have. And because the owners have demanded that they want to see the president in place, we are waiting for the time the president will find time to come to parliament to deliver the answers.
But the onus is on you, right?
It is not on me, it's on the House.
To make sure that the standing orders are respected.
Of course, it's not
we
only
have,
on me.
the country has entrusted you to make sure that you run affairs of our parliament.
Absolutely.
Why are you not forcing President Peter Mutharika to come to the National Assembly?
The only word that I would not want to use is the word force. I don't have the power to force the president, but the House.
But the questions,
the House,
yes.
The House can force the president to come
through
emotion.
Okay.
Through emotion.
Do you see that happening?
Well, if the House chooses so, they can come up with a motion to force the president.
In other countries, you have talked about Scotland, England, and other parts of
South Africa.
The president goes to parliament.
Yes.
What is wrong with our country?
I don't know what's wrong with our country, Brian. For me, I'm thinking if you were the president, you would love to be in parliament because you would be speaking to the nation through the elected representatives and answering the questions or worries they may have. And I don't know why when presidents come to parliament, but they don't want to come to interact with the elected representatives.
What are you hearing? What are their fears?
I don't know.
If you were the president of this country, if you were the president of this country, would you have loved to come to parliament and answer questions?
Actually, maybe I would say, well, all the afternoon is not enough for me. I would want more time to come and be part of parliament, like the prime ministers in other developed countries do. Because for me, it's an opportunity to transmit messages to the people.
Yeah, but why have past presidents, including the current one, President Mutharika, don't want to come to parliament?
Well, I don't know. Maybe that's a question at one given time you may ask.
So the House has powers through a motion to force President Mutharika to come.
As I've said, that is a constitutional matter. So the House can enforce it. It's a constitutional matter. It's not a personal matter. It's not a wish thing.
There have been all sorts of allegations against you, Honourable Speaker, that when the private member's bill came on electoral reforms, you suffocated it.
I suffocated it. No, that's not true.
What is the truth?
I'll give you a background. The matter on electoral accountability, if you recall, there was a rally in Mchinji. And speaking of, during that rally as first deputy president of the Malawi Congress Party, I said, we should stop crying about elections all the time because they waste a lot of time for us to settle down and start talking development of a country after elections. What we need to do is to do everything possible to go back to the law and try and see where the loopholes are so that we seal those loopholes. When somebody is elected, be a councillor, an MP, or a president, there should be no controversy. We should immediately after that president is sworn in, start discussing development and discussing issues of national interest. But in Malawi, all the time there have been court cases and this belief that these elections were stolen, figures were changed, warehouses burning, and so on. And I said at that rally, it is the duty of the MPs to ensure that the law covers everything or seals all loopholes where somebody can be suspicious of the results of an election. That has culminated into a motion that an honourable member brought into the House to allow him to bring a private member's bill. And when that motion was carried by the House, the private member brought the private member's bill in the House. And that bill was given space to be discussed. It was presented. It was debate ensued after it. So how do I, as chair, sitting somewhere where I'm only guiding what members want, suffocate a bill?
What we have heard is that the Democratic Progressive Party, through their own way of doing things, had arrangements
with the speaker to send
some members of parliament outside the country, so that when this bill is discussed,
there should be
less in number.
No, that's not correct. Because immediately that came out, it actually came as a social media thing to me. I saw it on a Facebook. So immediately in the morning when I came, I invited the two whips on the opposition side, the whip from MCP and the whip from PP, and they came here, and I said to them, look, there is this allegation that I have connived with the ruling Democratic Party to send some of your MPs out so that the time you vote, the numbers, you should be low on numbers and they should be high and then defeat the bill. So can we go through which of your members are outside the country? Okay? So each one of them said, so-so is out. I said, okay, did you know about this movement? Yes. When was this movement planned? Long time ago. Is it a regular movement? Yes. Did you accept it? Yes. So when you informed me, did you expect me to say no because there's a bill, or it is your duty as a whip to say don't go because there's a bill coming? They said no, this was something that we approved a long time ago, we knew about it, we informed you. Then I asked the same thing to the whip on the MCP side. How many of our MPs are out? They said 5. Then we looked at who are these MPs, where they are, what they are doing, what program they are attending. They're normal parliamentary programs, apart from one who went to another country to do his own personal thing, but that was aside. But again, it is not the Speaker who sends people out. The Speaker may identify opportunities, or it might be requested to send MPs. At the end of the day, the whip of that party has the power to say go or not go, because it is the whip of the party who knows what business the party has on the floor of the House. It's not for the Speaker.
So you have no, I want to get it very clear from
Please.
You have no powers to send a member of parliament outside the country.
I can send a member of parliament outside the country after the whip has said send him. You should remember, Brian, that even when I identify a member of parliament for yourself, I say, Honorable Brian Banda should go to South Africa because South African parliament has said we need a Malawian parliamentarian to come on this kind of work or this kind of workshop. I will be asking the whip, can you identify a member on your side who can go? As Speaker, I'm thinking I should send such a member because of the following reasons. Because maybe sometimes they specify. They will say, we want a chair of this committee, or a member, a female member, or want a member who is younger than 40. Several classifications. So I would be asking the whip, I've nominated this member. Do you have any objection for this member to leave? And the whip would say, no, don't send this one, because you remember last week or 2 weeks ago, he traveled, or last month, or last year he traveled. But this member has not traveled, or this member is more likely.
So yes. You are conniving, in parentheses,
yes, conniving with the DPP.
With the DPP. It's neither here nor there.
No, it's not there. It was simply kind of misunderstanding, because I'm told in one of the caucuses, one of the parties, or the DPP itself, the leader there said, we will try to make sure we have enough numbers. We will try to make sure we have enough members. And for them, when that information came out of that caucus, some people who were worried about this trying to dislodge progress in Parliament, they said, I think the Speaker might be working with our team to lessen your numbers. And then it went out. But I can understand the sensitivity. I can also understand.
Can you be trusted in as far as this issue is concerned?
Please trust me.
You can be trusted.
I swear to God, trust me.
You're not conniving with the Democratic Progressive Party?
No, not in such a way. We can connive in other things.
Have you connived before with the Democratic
Parliament is about networking. It's about networking.
Not conniving.
Not conniving. It's about networking.
Yes.
So we network.
Okay.
We network. I have to network with the whips on all parties. I have to network with the political leadership on all parties and all players in the party. I have to network with the independent MPs because parliamentary debate, in order to ensure that people get the most out of it, you've got to ensure that there is some play before the issues go to the House. Otherwise, if they just go there, that's why sometimes you see blows in other parliaments. So you have to avoid that. You have to network. You have to talk to these people, make the people understand and feel comfortable about certain issues. And that, I think, is the job.
We have to take a short break. We'll be back with you in a moment.
Thank you very much.
In case you're just joining us, this is Times Exclusive, airing on Times Television. In this edition of the program, I'm talking to the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Richard Msowoya, MP. We'll take a short break. The program tonight is sponsored by Rainbow Paints. We'll hear from them and we'll return thereafter.
Weather Shield, another brand from Rainbow Paints. This is Ultimate. An extreme high-performance acrylic smooth textured finishing with ultraviolet absorption and maximum flexibility properties for wall finishes. A built-in fungicide to resist molds. Simple to use, quick drying, water-resistant binding power, low dirt retention, and hides hairline cracks. Suitable for use on all exterior walls, be it plaster, concrete, or brickwork. Available in a wide range of colors in 5 and 20-liter containers. Contact us today in Blantyre 01841-813, 01841-871, Lilongwe 01755-901. Email info@rainbowpaints.biz. Rainbow Paints. Peace of mind, part of the deal.
In case you're just joining us, welcome aboard. This is Times Exclusive. We are in the last part of our interview tonight with the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Richard Msowoya, Member of Parliament also for Karonga Nyungwe. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Welcome again.
I hope you're still loving me.
No, let's keep on. As I said, for me, these are matters of public interest.
Yes,
so
yes.
I'm a public
And I
and I have to be
and I like
honest
your,
to
I like
myself.
your honesty and
yes.
openness
Yes.
when it comes to these matters.
Yeah.
Do you think you have been in trouble for being too open?
Well, it does not come to my attention yet, but I think if you are in trouble for being open and for saying the truth, then be happy. But when you get in trouble for being dishonest and saying untruth, then you have something to worry.
Can you promise me that the next phase that we're going, you'll be as truthful, as open as you can be?
So help me God.
A lot of people are
Yes.
talking about the challenges being faced by the current administration.
Right.
They are saying that the economy is in chaos and the issues of corruption have gone to very significant proportions.
Right.
You watching from the National Assembly, what are you seeing in as far as this administration, the Peter Mutharika administration is concerned?
Well, talking about administration and talking about corruption is one, and sitting at Parliament where you play the oversight role, you can say, yes, there is corruption taking place. And I think...
You can say that?
Yes, I can say that.
Okay.
And I think the good thing about it is that even the executive itself has admitted in some of their statements. They've said there's still corruption happening in government circles, there's still swindling of money somewhere. They have looked at the challenges that IFMIS is still having, and they have talked of strengthening IFMIS. I doubt if they would be thinking of strengthening IFMIS if everything was just okay.
But President Mutharika is also on record having said that he has a clean cabinet and that his members of cabinet are corrupt-free.
Well, you see, these are matters of opinion. And for me and you to say his government is corrupt or his cabinet is corrupt, we have to have something tangible to be able to show. And in the absence of that, then we would be stating something that somebody can even take us to court. Or as Speaker, will be taken to task to say, can you prove to the nation that you're saying that my cabinet is corrupt? But all I'm saying is, there are instances that my committees are looking at that tend to show that there is corruption taking place. And we cannot sit here as Malawians and say and begin to hide, bury our heads in the sand like an ostrich and say there's no corruption in Malawi. Then we'll be fooling ourselves. There is corruption taking place. I think the question is, as Parliament, are we doing enough to conduct our oversight role? And I'm saying we are doing everything possible to make sure that we tell people exactly what's happening and where monies have gone, where they've been misused, where they've been misappropriated.
What about doubts that the last sitting of Parliament did not discuss conclusively in as far as the two reports are concerned?
Right.
On the Meze saga from Zambia. We have the Commission of Inquiry report and the Parliamentary Committee report.
Yes.
Do you think your Parliament, our Parliament,
Yes.
has done justice to these two reports?
I like the way you're saying our Parliament, because this is not my Parliament.
Yes,
it
yes.
is our Parliament.
But you are the man in charge.
Yes, I'm the man in charge. And I want to illustrate that.
Yes.
I think people must understand the processes that take place in Parliament. One, the report that they're talking about was a fresh report. If you look even at the standing order, you'll find that there were so many reports that were not presented in the House from the previous Parliament. But when that report came, because we knew the public was was eager to know what happened. Why have we wasted our money to fly MPs to Zambia? And why have we wasted our money to have a commission of inquiry and our time and all this news? So personally, as Speaker, I had a word with my secretariat to say, and the leadership and the political party leadership to say, honorable members and the secretariat, can we make sure we expedite this report, write it, pass through all the process as quickly as possible, and make sure it comes as report number 1 to be debated and reported to be presented in the House. So it took precedence of all the previous reports that were there for members to present, and it became, it shoot to the top. When that report was presented to the House, I'm sure you remember, we gave it ample time for the chairperson to read, and if you can read the Hansard, I was also on record saying, I will make sure that you finish your report without restricting you to the time that is allocated. So the honorable chairperson, the joint chairperson, read the report thoroughly and finished. After that, the normal thing is we get a seconder, and there was a seconder from within the committee who seconded the report, and then we had to adjourn, but also we postponed debate on it because we said the report has just been circulated. Let the other honorable members read and understand the issues, and then come to debate at a later stage. When that time came, members stood up, they debated on the report, and it is now at a stage where the motion was carried by the House. Remember, these are not my decisions. The House, a member stands up, which is part of our procedure and our processes, says, I rise to move a motion that debate on this report be curtailed in order to allow the member to wind up so that the report can be adopted or not adopted. That's where we are.
So the report has not been.
It has not been adopted now, but we are just at a stage now where the member will come to wind up debate, and then the question will be put, and the House will adopt it or not adopt it, and that is not my decision. It is the decision of the House.
Do you think the executive arm of government has handled this mess saga fairly?
Well, I wouldn't talk about them, but I would talk about how they have responded to our inquiries from Parliament. They have been very responsive to it. I mean, you remember, for us to go to Zambia, we had to ask the Minister of Foreign Affairs to connect us to our colleagues in Zambia, and they did that in a very swift manner, actually to my surprise. And so how they have responded to our inquiries, they have been very positive. They've been very...
The executive has been...
They have been very responsive, yes. They have given us information. They have come to... They have sent their officers to attend inquiries. They have answered all the questions, and the committee was satisfied in their report. They have not complained. They have, however, said that the information that they was given, in some cases, was not correct. That's the findings of the committee. But those could be debated. You know, it's based on what they found in Zambia, what they were told here, and they think there are some differences. But that is part of the inquiry. But in terms of the performance of the executive, they have not given pressure to me. They have not given pressure to any honorable members. No honorable members come to me with that committee.
Are we winning the battle against corruption?
Well, I would say at the moment, I think I would be lying to you to say we have won.
Yes or no?
Well, Brian, the question is that we are still fighting corruption.
So we are not winning?
We are still fighting corruption.
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is that corruption is there.
My question is, are we winning the battle against corruption?
Because there's still corruption.
Can I get yes or no?
The answer is no.
The answer is no. Why did you say that?
Okay, no, because there's a process. You know, when you just say we're not winning, it's as if you have given up and you're just sitting and saying there's corruption, so something we have to live with. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Parliament, we are doing everything possible to make sure that those who are getting their hands into money, public funds, or public property or public assets, are being taken to book.
Malawi Congress Party.
Yes.
You are the first vice president of the
party.
First
deputy president.
First deputy president of the party.
Yes.
Whether it's vice or deputy, I don't know what the difference is.
Well, it's semantics. But it's a
Would you prefer to be vice president or deputy president?
What the Constitution says is first deputy president,
okay.
and I'm happy with that.
You're happy with that?
Yes.
I have had discussions with the president of the party, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera.
Right.
He has been hanging out with a number of people. Yanax, for example.
Right.
Siddiq Mia. There are reports that is probably quoting one of these people to pair and partner with him for the 2019 elections.
Right.
In the event that this is true, what does that reflect on you, Mr. Deputy President of the Malawi Congress
Okay,
Party?
there are two parts here. First part is that I'm the first Deputy President of the party elected by the convention. Presidents, internationally, those who are candidates for elections, internationally, it's an international norm that they get to choose who their running mates are. And there, I don't have any influence. It is him who will be the president of MCP who will choose who the running mate is. So if that is what, from what you have said, that you have spoken to him, if that's what he intends to do,
No, he has not told me
Okay.
that's not what he intends. I just want to be...
All right.
But he has said that he's hanging out
All right.
with everybody.
It is a responsibility of everybody in the party, including the president, to grow the party. And to grow the party means hanging out, wooing, and getting people to join the party, explaining the policies of the party so that people like it and join it. So it is a responsibility. And within that, you cannot fault him.
If you are left out, if you do not partner him
Yes,
in the 2019 general elections,
right.
you'll be bitter.
Brian, you should also remember that I partnered him in 2014. He gave me a chance to partner with him. If that chance, according to him, was not the best of his choices and he wants to change, well, personally, as a human being, you'd say, you'd feel like, oh, so it means I misperformed or I did not deliver, which is a personal feeling, which even you or myself would have. But at the same time, if you wish the party good, you'd say, okay, let him make the best choice out of the people that he's interacting with, to pair with him so that the party goes ahead and wins the elections. Yes.
So
and I would be happy, as a first deputy president, I would be happy for a pair that wins the elections to govern Malawi.
So you want to agree or to say that you had no influence in the 2014 elections?
No, you don't have influence.
No,
No, normally you don't. I mean, you don't. It's almost impossible. How do you? It's an individual decision. It's you deciding who you want to marry, who you want to go to depose with, and nobody influences you. If there's influence, it is all done without any regulations or any rules or concessions.
So my question is, you're picking as the running mate.
Or done by the president personally.
Yeah, but did it have any? Is that why you failed those elections? Did you bring any effect to him as a leader?
I believe I added value. One.
You believe you added value?
I believe I added value. One is that the convention itself thought that I was a formidable person to be the first deputy, and the president also at that time thought I was a good person to go to the polls with, and certainly with that conventional elections and the number that voted for me, one could then assume that there is the likelihood of being liked by the
as
general
we speak
Yes.
today, as we stand today.
Yes.
Do you see Right Honorable Dr. Lazarus Chakwera picking you again in 2019?
Well,
Yes or no? Do you see him?
no.
Do you see him picking you again?
No, because I am not Lazarus Chakwera, so I cannot do yes or no.
What are you talking to him?
About building the party.
Have you talked about 2019 elections?
We think it is, for us now,
Yes.
we think it is time to build the party, we think it is time to link
But
up
have
with
you
the
asked him
grassroots.
whether you're going to run again or not?
It would be unfair for me now to actually divert him from this process that we have to build the party and to make the party.
You have just told me you're talking about 2019, isn't it?
We're talking about 2019, but
So,
not in the process of
as somebody who you have traveled together,
Yes.
has there been a time you say, Ashimweni, could you mundi tenganso 2019?
No. Achimweni, chipani chikule nditu kutote 19 sasavutike ngamenda vutikira kumbuyo.
Is it wrong to ask whether you are...
It's not wrong to ask. Now that you reminded me, maybe I should.
Maybe you should?
Maybe I should.
Are you going to ask him?
Well,
When?
now that you reminded me,
When?
maybe sometime when we chat.
Okay. Can you come back to me and say, I have asked?
I will certainly do if I do so.
What if he says no? Are you going to leave the party?
But I said, in life, there is either yes or no. It can't be, you can't be hanging. What the Constitution says is that the presidential candidate shall have a running mate. And so, the Honorable President of MCP will have to have a running mate going to the polls.
And it's very difficult, the next question.
Yes.
But do you think, Right Honorable Dr. Lazarus Chakwera is steering the party to the greatest heights?
You see, when you...
And I don't know if you give me a proper answer.
I would, as I said, I will be very honest with you.
Yeah.
And my honesty is that when you look at Dr. Chakwera and you single him out, then somehow even myself will be a little unfair to him. Dr. Chakwera and myself and Mr. Lombola, we form the presidency together. So the question should be, do you think you, as a team of 3 presidents, are you steering the party in the right direction? And my answer in that way would be yes, we are steering it in the right direction.
You haven't had any major rallies in the south and in the north. You are only concentrating on the center because that's where your strength is. But is that the way of running a political party?
No, that is not correct. I do recall very vividly myself, before the end of the year, we were all the way up to Chitipa with rallies, Karonga.
When was the last time you were in the south?
Last time we were in the south, probably 4 months ago.
Yeah, but 4 months ago, it's a long time.
Remember,
it is
a long time, indeed. I agree with you, but you should remember, it was a festive season of Christmas, New Year, and then this is farming season, and then Parliament was in there. So you have to consider that you are going to disturb people at a time when they are at their most busy time to look
So
for,
to conclude on
to
this
improve
matter,
their living.
if you are left out
Yes.
for 2019,
I work for MCP.
you're not going anywhere?
No. I work for MCP.
You work for MCP?
I work for MCP.
There have been a ruling that they are now no longer a member of parliament in Lilongwe City Southeast constituency.
Right.
How have you received the news as the speaker?
So the news has come to me, as I've always said, even in the chamber sometimes, that the news has come to me from the newspapers, from the radio broadcast, which as a Malawian I'm listening to. But officially, on my desk, as of now, I've not received the ruling. I've not received the opinion of the secretariat. On the opinion, I can say, if what I'm hearing on the radio is what will come, my opinion as Speaker, and I think as Parliament, is clear. This is the Supreme Court of Appeal. So you don't go anywhere else. And it has made a ruling, or they have created a vacancy in that constituency. By my my layman's understanding of the law. Sometimes I wish I was a lawyer when I do this job. But as a layman, and with a layman's understanding of the law, is that the Supreme Court, after observing everything, and weighing all the arguments given to them, they have now created a vacancy in the Lilongwe City Southeast
Yes.
constituency. So, all what is remaining is just processes.
So if you get a ruling,
Because they have said, make a rerun.
Yes.
You cannot run where there's someone.
okay. So my question is, are you going now to declare that seat vacant? Because there was a member of
But
parliament.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
The court has now forced us, or the court has now told us, that according to them, as Supreme Court of the land, that seat is vacant. And we should conduct a rerun. Because as far as the court is concerned, there's no MP there.
So as soon as you get the ruling,
As soon as
you
we
make
get
an
that-
announcement?
No, it's not even we will have to announce in the chamber. I'm sure that will happen before we meet in May or June. But certainly, what the court has done is they've said there is a vacancy in that constituency.
What happens to the one who was a member of parliament? Does he refund all the money that he has been getting from parliament?
Hey, normally, because most of them are loans, so the same thing happens. You get a loan from government, if you can't pay back, they will have to find ways of paying back.
As we finish our discussion tonight, there have been complaints that there is a lot of absenteeism amongst members of parliament.
Right.
What are you doing to address this problem?
So first, before I go to what we're doing, is just want to make people understand is that parliamentarians have maybe 3 major roles: as representatives, as registrars, and people who play oversight over government. Now, at any particular time in the year, even when Parliament is in session, parliamentarians might be called upon to go outside into their constituencies sometimes. Sometimes not even their own constituency, but somewhere else, to conduct a meeting of some sort, maybe public awareness on other issues. That would absent them from the chamber. they could be on an international trip to learn or to get capacity building on certain issues to do with capacity building or representation. They would be out of the chamber, as we pointed out earlier on.
Yeah.
But also on matters of oversight. They could be somewhere else conducting some other business, like maybe traveling, like we saw in the agriculture committee. They went out and they were doing that work. So even when you look at other parliaments in the world, House of Commons, for example, it has about 400 and something MPs. But when you count the number of seats, they're about 200 something, or maybe less than 100 and something. And when there's an important matter to be discussed on the floor of the House, you see the House of Commons full, and the MPs just stand. They don't even have a place to sit. So the MPs are mobilized by their whips. Come to Parliament. Come to Parliament. It is very important that you are there because there's a vote to take place. This you see in all the developed parliaments, including African parliaments these days. South Africa is one of them. Then comes a time when the House is full because whips, political leadership has mobilized all their MPs to be in Parliament. Then that time simmers, and MPs are able to do other things. There would be committee meetings. Some would be outside the chamber receiving petitions from members. Some would be in meetings with donors, with the cooperating partners, and so on, doing all sorts of things. Now, we know that there could be some sections that could take advantage of those absenteeism that are official and known and whatever, that they don't come. And for some reason, it could be sickness, it could be mwana wadwala, all those kind of things. What we have done is that through the committee of chairpersons, we met and made a resolution that if MPs are discovered that they absented themselves from the chamber for no known reason, allowances should be deducted.
And you've started doing that.
And so what we do is once we tabulate the presence or the absence of MPs every sitting, committee sitting or main plenary sitting of Parliament, and we submit those to the whips to verify, because there are times they may not necessarily tell the chair that they are not in Parliament because they are sick. So then the whip will have to verify, because they are required to notify the whips why they have not come to the chamber. When the whips give us the record of why that particular MP or member was not available, then we say, okay, this is fine, this is not fine, and we deduct the...
And very lastly,
yes,
what are you doing to make sure that the Parliament is for the people?
You see, Brian, since I came, if you were going to ask me what do I consider to be one of the achievements of this Parliament, is that since I came, recently became Speaker, I said to my staff, my secretary, to my colleagues in the Commission, that this is Mpala, ya Malawi. There are about 18 million or 17 million, whatever figure you have out there. These people have sent their representatives here. I'm sure, wherever they are, they would like to know, one, what is this representative saying or doing in Parliament? But what is Mpala, what is it talking about? What is this assembly talking about that concerns us for the reason that we send somebody there? So what I've done is, I've said, any radio station, any newspaper, they are free to come to Parliament and cover it. And we have seen that even our committees now, they are public, they are open.
And we should recommend you for
that. They are open. I'm saying you cannot hide a matter that is for the public. This is their own power, and you say, asaziwe kai ifetitite kai process. No,
time,
that is there.
Time is not our best ally.
No,
but what next for you after being a speaker? Do you have ambitions to run for the presidency of this country? Challenge Dr. Chakwera, for example?
Well, as I said, I think now in terms of my Congress party, it's time for building the party. It's time for us to reach the grassroots. But it's also time for us to begin to look at what
You're
went
not
wrong.
answering my question. You're not answering my question.
So the time.
You're not answering my question.
The time to talk about whether you want to do this, do this,
yes,
is not right now.
Okay.
Yes.
When is it? Right.
Well, I'm sure as we go along,
okay,
as we see.
Do you have ambitions to run?
Every human being that lives must have dreams. And remember, Dr. Bingu said you must dream in color. So
okay,
as Richard Msowoya, I dream in color. And that could be one of the things I would want to take on. But it's not time now. Now I'm looking at my energy.
When is that? When is that? Are you going to dream in color? 2019? 2024?
No, maybe 2019 will be too far. But I think there's a year between 2 years between now and 2019.
So to answer my question,
yes.
Do you have any intentions to challenge Dr. Chakwera in a convention?
No intentions.
No intentions?
Not now.
But when?
Well, I'm saying once one looks at how the party has been built,
Yes.
how everything is happening,
Yes.
that's when you make a decision.
We'll leave it on that note tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed,
Thank you,
Right
thank
Honourable
you very
Speaker.
much, thank
Quite
you.
intriguing hearing you talk tonight.
Yes, thank you.
We wish we had more time.
Yeah, sure, thanks.
And this is how we conclude this week's edition of Times Exclusive. In this edition of the program, I've been talking to the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament for Malawi, Right Honourable Richard Msowoya. He is also First Deputy President of the Malawi Congress Party and Member of Parliament for Karonga Nyungwe. My name is Brian Banda. Tonight, broadcasting from Lilongwe, and it's goodbye.